Welcome into the In the Money podcast for Sunday, October 14th. Tom Leach along with Jim Goodman, and we're going to take a look at the late pick four. But before we get into the races, Jim, you are running your annual fall meet tournament, and tell folks how they can still sign up for the Sunday session if they're listening to this or get involved in the future.
Sure. Right now we've got about 160 entries, hoping to get 170, 175. It's a $3,000 buy-in with a $2,000 live bankroll. And you play all the Keeneland races. There are a couple of the unique rules that we've got where you have to bet half your bankroll in one of the last two races. So it gets really exciting at the end. We send 5 people to the BCBC tournament. It's a $10,000 entry fee there. And the top 8 people also go to NHC with a chance to win close to $1 million next February in Vegas. So if you want to play this Sunday, just show up at the fourth floor, elevator C, go up elevator C, the fourth floor outside the Lexington, Kentucky room. And you can sign up, pay your money then, and we'll get you in the tournament. We do one in the spring for the same money. We also do one the day before for a $400 buy-in. So we'll have about 250 people in that. Contests are big right now, and we do a booming business at Keeneland.
All right, well, let's take a look at the late pick four, which starts in the 6th race on Sunday. Since there's no stake, we're just going to take these in order. And this is an allowance optional claimer for fillies and mares 3 and up, going 6.5 furlongs. You've got a big favorite in here in Wicked to start out the late pick four. Some I'm sure will single her. What about you?
How'd you know I was going to single her? Let's see. Brad Cox, Sean Bridgmohan, almost won a $62,000 optional claimer at Churchill. I think she might be a single. Yeah, I think I have to spread the other races. This was the most obvious single. I don't really like to start off a pick four with a single because you don't eliminate very many tickets, and if you can find value elsewhere, I just couldn't find it here. I thought she's the speediest one of the inside 4, so I think she gets the lead fairly easily. Inside has been very good, as everyone knows at this meet. So Cox and Bridgmohan are 27%. There's really no reason to go against her if she maintains that form from Churchill. It was September 16th. We got an excellent time in between races. I think she's 3 to 5, and I think she's probably the single. If you really don't like her, I think the 5 and the 6, Go Lady J and On Her Way, have good enough form in the past to compete. But the best races Go Lady J ran were on Polytrack. So I think that the dirt form is suspect there. I probably would go On Her Way second here, just off that win in Indiana 2 back, and they tried her in the stakes race at Presque Isle on the synthetic, and she didn't do very well. So I just think maybe Wicked is a standout here.
I'm going to try to beat her. Got to use her on my ticket, but I'm going to take one shot to beat her, and I couldn't any of the ones with recent form. I just couldn't find anybody I thought was good enough. So I'm looking at a 3-year-old that's been off since the spring and might come back at a higher level off the layoff for Ron Moquette. And that's the 2 Georgia's Reward at 6 to 1. This horse ran well in the spring. In fact, won a stakes race, a restricted stake at Oaklawn in the last start in late March. And there's enough speed to be close. She's got fast works. Moquette horses have been running well, and 6 to 1. I'm gonna add her. I'm gonna play 2 in the first leg of the pick four just to try to get ahead of the pack because everybody will be certainly on maybe Wicked. We'll move to the 7th race, and we'll take a look at a maiden special weight on the turf for 2-year-old fillies going a mile and a 16th. I ended up on the horse down on the inside, Portofino, for Norm Cassie, with a limited sample, admittedly, but 38% with horses making their second start. So his dad's stable always was usually better with second time out. Le Peru rides, and they teamed up to give Norm his first Keeneland win earlier this week. And this horse ran at Kentucky Downs, so ought to get fit from that and has the pedigree to stretch out to this distance. So I'm going to take that horse, but I'm also going to use the 7 and the 8, Made in the Mist. Walsh horses are 20% off the layoff. And this horse took some money in the debut and ran pretty well and now adds blinkers, so that could give her a chance to be up a little closer. She's So Savvy, the 8, had a wide trip in the debut at Kentucky Downs, and being out of a deputy minister mare, she ought to be able to stretch out. So I'm going with those angles with those 3 in the 7th. How about you?
This race looks a little difficult to me. I like Portofino. That's the only thing we agree on. And I'm going 6 deep here. I didn't use those 2 horses. You make a good point about the 8 horse. Probably didn't show her best at Kentucky Downs with that 11 hole at going 6.5. But I use Portofino, Andy's Kitten, first-time starter for Chad Brown. I don't think you ever leave Chad Brown out, 20% first-time starter. Silver Kitten for Santana, and a very underrated trainer who doesn't run much here, Danny Gargan, but he's 21% in New York. So he shipped this horse down from Belmont, got one work over the track, not a very fast work on October 6th, but she was working very steadily at Belmont. So it looks like they were trying to get her in up there and didn't get her in. But Danny Gargan's a really good trainer. I didn't use the 7 or the 8, but I used the 9, Julia's Ready. And Mary Celeste, the 10, is actually my top pick for Michael Stidham, that 6.5 furlong at Kentucky Downs, coming out of the 11 hole, just like the She's So Savvy did. But Mary Celeste ran great, had the lead top of the stretch, or actually almost at the finish line, got beat by a length and a quarter. So I really like Mary Celeste. Also going to throw in Kenny McPeak's first-time starter, Lady Tricia's Dream. This is a crapshoot for me. I'm going to go 6 deep.
We'll move to the 8th race. It's the allowance feature on the card for condition of non-winners of 2 lifetime 6 furlongs, and these are 3-year-olds. And you've got some horses that have flashed ability in limited starts, coming off layoffs, all kinds of different angles here. Where did you go?
This is a spread race for me, too, and I wound up going 6 deep in this race, and I might just go ahead and do them all. I don't like to go more than half, and I've actually my pick here is Chaos Theory for Mark Cassey. I think great work at Keeneland here on October 6th, first out of 121. So looks like that he's ready off the layoffs. He ran well in the spring here. That's another plus. But I'm also going to use Curate. That 94 buyer jumps off the page at Ellis Park, but they haven't run him back. So, and it's curious that they leave Burrell on him, where Burrell has only ridden 3 times for Brad Cox. He did ride him down there, so that may be a reason. They gave $575,000 for the horse. So obviously had some issues getting him to the races. He's a 4-year-old with only 1 start, but that 94 buyer, you got to throw him in. Well, also going to use Moe's Mojo, the 1, Share the Upside, the 5, and 6 Soaring Bird, and 8 Bobby's Wicked One. So I'm going to use a bunch of them. Going deep here, don't have a real strong feeling about it.
I'm with you on that. I ended up, my win pick is going to be Prolific on the Today at Keeneland show. I like the win first out at Belmont last fall. Didn't come back until the spring meet and threw in a real clunker, but it's interesting. Jose Ortiz rode then and takes them out again. A long series of solid works, and Stidham's 24% off a layoff of 180 days or more. So at 12-1, I was kind of enticed by the price. Bobby's Wicked One was my second pick. Curate the third, just off that huge buyer. But I've seen these horses, sometimes those big buyer numbers regress first try versus winners. So I'm going to try to beat that likely favorite. Chaos Theory, I want it on my ticket as well. And Soaring Bird, and I'm going to stop there, but I could go deeper. But I'm going to take Soaring Bird as well. 9th race, my win pick was Commandeering. The 3 has some speed, has run well a couple of times here. And Turf to Dirt's a 29% angle for Cox, and he's really good second off the layoff, too. He's good in most categories. 6, Maka's Reward, has good speed. The Moquette Barn I mentioned before. This horse had a sharp work here on October 1st, so I'm going to use that one. And finally, Omen of Change. Morales has had a quietly pretty decent meet for a young apprentice rider, Omen of Change, and I think he's riding, Edgar Morales riding well. And this horse ran well first time versus winners, draws down on the inside, so I'm going to take the 2, 3, and 6. So I'm starting out with a 2-4 in the first leg, then 1, 2, 7, 8. I'm going to add Andy's Kitten. You make a great point about Chad Brown. So I'm going to add Andy's Kitten. 1, 2, 7, 8. Then in the third leg, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then I'll use 2, 3, 6 in the last leg. That should be $60 for 50 cents. How about you?
Spend a little bit more than that, but I'm going to single the 4 in the first leg, so I've got some spread later on. With 1, 2, 5, 9, 10, 12. I'm going to take them all. I'm not going to take 6 out of 9. I'm going to take them all there, because you mentioned a horse that I didn't have put into my 6. So I'm going to go all there, and then I'm going to go three deep in the third with the 3, 7, 8. Commandeering is my top pick, and the 7 and 8, Valley Cove and Long-Term Relationship.
Now, Valley Cove was the one I scratched out to add the Chad Brown horse in that second leg. So you got to give and take to keep the ticket manageable. Best of luck with your wagers on the Sunday card as we wrap up the first full week of racing of the fall meet with some fall-like weather. And we'll see you next week when we resume our podcast for the Wednesday card here on the In the Money podcast for KeenelandSelect.com.